So we're going to be working some abs today. I'm going to get through 10 sets of abs either way. So the abs I've backed off of quite a bit. Usually the adjustment with this isn't the lowest one, it's the best. Right? You want to just feel a little tension in here as you're going about doing this exercise. I'm just pleased I'm doing some lower back exercises as well that I did earlier today. I did 4 sets of stiff leg staggered back extensions or stiff leg deadlifts. Keeping the tension on my abs. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So there's 20. So what I'm tempted to do and trying to figure out how I would do it is add some tension. I'm not going to do that today though. I'm going to get 9 to 12 sets. I'll be doing leg lifts, using that ab roller, and sticking with these guys. All right, definitely feeling it. Get a little water. Got a couple hours of walking in already today. The right knee, lateral aspects of the right knee, cruciate ligament hurts. It's not the MCL. It's the ACL. And I'm hoping that with more power and strength around the area, it'll remedy that. All right, let's get another set. But I like those Bulgarian split squats. Those things are really nice. So those 3 sets of 20 were perfect. As my upper body is gone up in body weight, I feel like that's going to be a pretty good leaning into doing added resistive crunches, movements. Might even revisit it today at the end of this. And might even do some pikes with this. We'll see what we got left after rollouts. I got to remember not to rush through. There's a feeling that you have with abs where it's like you feel like you want to rush through. And you want to build your abs just like you are any other area. And that is ultimately what's going to reduce the body fat in that area, is by building up a really thick wall, core, with all those layers. So we're about to do some hanging leg raises now. I'm already feeling my hip flexors from that prior exercise. A little bit of the sartorius, right? And I'm scrambling every day to go, okay, what muscle group could I work on today that's not utterly sore or overworked? Because down the road, recovery is faster, right? Yeah, 20 was real nice on that. I liked that. I liked the way that 20 felt. So we're going to stick with that. So stretching out some hip flexors while I walk. I already did about 2 hours of walking. Just keeping a real low level, constant state keeps the metabolism awake. Biceps are sore from yesterday. Knocking off of the sweets as I'm starting to see an obfuscation and a widening of the waist. Right? So we're working with it. I would say that if I went on carnivore right now, I'd realize with the water loss that I haven't gained anything. In fact, I've lost. Like I was feeling the fat around my chest. And even though it appears like I have the same subcutaneous compositing, right, there's a redistribution taking place with the higher glycogen levels, sustained glycogen levels. I feel less stress. So that's 4 sets, going in for the 5th set in a minute. Feeling the fatigue, not wanting to prematurely end my workout. I'm trying to stretch the workout out. And also what I've got in front of me is I'd like to do some ab roller and rollouts that are going to really fatigue the lower abs. So that last set was challenging. I was going to end it at 15 and I pushed it to 20. Let's see if I can get 20 on this upcoming set. So I lowered my betaine, trimethylglycine, down to a couple thousand milligrams a day so that it'll last me another week. We've been on that about 2.5 months. So you can see my hamstrings are tight from doing the bent over, from doing the walking, stiff leg, staggered deadlifts. I did 4 sets of 10 earlier, just with the 30s. It was enough weight to be able to increase my stretch, but it also fatigued the hamstrings because I did it during my walk. So that's why the leg raises look limited, but they're not. They're not. I assure you the lower abs are working dynamically. And when you're hanging open chain movement, it involves your obliques. So you can really develop your obliques very well without all the twisting motions. Time under tension. So if you're going to be doing transverse movements, rotary movements, they need to be more based around biomechanical mobilization, right? Which I might get into a little bit today. I don't know what I have energy for. There's 5 sets of 20. 5 sets of 20. That'll stretch. So those burpee guys, I'm telling you, if you saw them in person, you wouldn't want ever to do burpees. You're just not going to, you're not building toward hypertrophy, and you're also not building toward any power. It's a type of endurance that's repetitive and overstressed. And they're 3 to 5 rep wonders. You'll see that they recover fast, but they're incapable of doing many more than 15 or 20 reps. Right? So they never max out. Now, this does go along with my philosophy of GIT training, gradual intensity training, but the intensity is where the two factions dropped off. And that is, you have to start going toward power and developing all stages, right? And even more so max strength. And then you begin to mesh all those in between mobilization. So for me, I work backwards where my mobilization's terrible, right? And then through the strength and the power aspect, the joint systems, once they're not experiencing stress and pain, right? Because the muscle, the localized muscle is overpowering the weakness to the joint system. That's when I get more into mobilization. I start going, okay, what do I have to work with? What's the range of motion I have to work with? See if we can bust out another set of 20. trying to like go side to side, hit different areas. So that's 6. Challenging, and trying to save some for future sets. So that's 6 sets already. And that is primarily just from core training, because I haven't done a huge amount of TRX, really sit-ups or leg raises over the past 2.5 months. I have done them, but they have been on that tier list that maybe goes down to a D tier. The A tier would be what I always do over and over again, which is on the A tier is various TRX chest presses, rows, maybe even floating in B tier would be shoulder movements, like shoulder presses where I do less of them, but I still do them more intensely. So it's still floating there on the A tier list. B tier would probably be triceps, where I'm doing it regularly, but sometimes the chest movements offer plenty of tricep exercise where they're sore. There's no way I could do a standalone tricep exercise that week, so I skip it, but I'm still hammering my triceps, right, off chest and shoulder movements. So that might go toward a C tier, right? And then rear delts are down in a D tier. I hit them sometimes, but I don't hit them often enough. And that's what I will be doing more with the 30s. I just need more variety, like a bent over rear delt raise. Okay. So the next exercise is going to be rollouts. This is going to be challenging, that's for sure. Let's move this stuff out of the way, because I got all this fatigue going. All right, still technically trying to stay in that 20 rep range, okay? And this has been really nice. I've only used it a couple of times. Let's see what we got. Let's take advantage of the whole space behind me so I can get a nice stretch out in front. Yeah. Yeah, I could keep going with that. And that's because I do those rollouts on the TRX. Those are, so what am I getting out of that? You see my hips thrust completely forward, right, with a little bit of a reach. So it's hitting a little higher into the center of my core. The rollouts on the TRX, where I'm going into a TRX chest press position and then back up, gets the sides more, but it hits everything. That isolates more to the center. It's an invaluable exercise. But I would say that I need more weight. I'm a little worried about overstretching, stressing that little piece of metal though. You know? Do those things wear out? I'm sure they do. Well, we're gonna do 3 sets. There's nothing wrong with having an A to E tier list of difficulty exercises with certain difficulty too, right? That's on a more minor scale of difficulty. Anything above 20 reps is redundant. It's redundant. So this rest is crucial for hypertrophy, right? That you allow recovery, partial recovery. So there's a better displacement, a rebounding with the actin and myosin, the muscle filaments, right? To where you're not just repetitively stressing out the same muscle filaments over and over again in the mid-range. That's what the burpee kings, the burpee people of the world do. And you watch their power diminish and top out. All right, let's try another 20 here, right? I would add some weight, but I don't want to overstress this thing. I kind of want to keep it more than a week, you know? Yeah, so I made that set more challenging. So I didn't roll all the way back for recovery to the starting position on all the reps. I focused on the stretch. I kept it local. And then I went side to side on a couple. And ultimately, that being the 8th ab set, is I could feel my abdominals. Ooh, yeah. So I'm feeling everything. Obviously, I'm feeling tris. Feeling triceps for sure. We're going to use this container as an 8-pound weight. So I'm going to fill up non-drinkable water and use that as a tote weight. Oh yeah, feeling the abs just like they are. A fully conditioned muscle. Yeah, so those rollouts on the TRX really brought my localized midpoint strength and endurance up. If I were to just do an exercise modality like this regularly, once every 10 days, you'd really see my abdominal development come up. And you want to get blood flow going through an area. That's what keeps fat from depositing there. Okay? Other than diet, but honestly, you can get away with more than you would even care to know. Once you get into really training your muscle, you'd be jealous when you look at really super fit vascular people and just what they're eating. Like, I'm telling you, and without any PEDs or anything also. And that's, performance athletes, that's where we want to get to, right? That's what we're always playing with. All right, I feel a decent amount of recovery there. Yeah, it feels prime. I feel like maybe a little longer since I'm on it going. This is my 9th set on a specific muscle group that is targeting the abdominals. All right, it feels like jump in, so let's do it. Let's do one more set. Now I would add resistance. And the resistance you'd want to add is weight on my back. But if I put 28 pounds on my back, that's not a 230-pound guy. That's a 250-pound guy. If you had an extra 30 pounds on your upper body, you're going to have 20 or 30 pounds below at least, right? So that's a lot of pressure and weight on this thing. Let's go side to side more. That was perfect. Yeah, that was very appropriate. Very appropriate. Yeah. Get a little more water. So that's 9 sets. You shouldn't be any more expectant to doing any faster, less recovery between sets, abs, as compared with any other muscle group. That's how you get that uniform hardness and development, is you're trying to train within a similar rep range. Now, granted, different muscles respond in varied ways. In the composite of those muscle groups, some's a little bit more fast twitch, slow twitch. In some areas, the torsion of the pennation angle, like the internal external oblique mechanism, will harness one particular movement above the other. But we want to balance that out. We want to balance out any asymmetry, right? And strength allows you to do that. Strength in any and all given areas. So I got my base done. Now I want to do 3 more sets where it's kind of finishing sets, right? So, rollouts, beautiful exercise. That'll tie in different areas. And then I may want to do an exclusive core time under tension exercise as well. So, let's prep that up, right, to do a band time under tension hold. And with this, we'll do some rollouts. And then I may finish with kind of a superset between things. But how many times have I actually followed through with what I'm planning? I mean, the whole thing is you plan on a certain muscle movement, and then the whole point is that you fail and you reach fatigue where you can't do that. That's an accomplishment, right? When the rational construct can't be achieved because your overall goal is to fatigue the muscle. See, this is what people don't understand that aren't on the hypertrophic train. They don't get that's the goal, is to slowly achieve muscle stimulus, muscle failure, muscle breakdown, but without injuring yourself, right? All right, let's see what we got here. So I can already tell we got to move that back so our head doesn't go through there. Well, let's see what we got. Let's even that out. Great carabiner these TRX come with, though. I love that. I don't know. Let's just shoot. Let's jump in there and see. Let's start shallower, right? Gonna need to be, talk about shallow, gonna need to be down in the bottom position there. Oh, that's hard. was effective. That's 10. That's 10 sets on the abs. Technically there. Yeah, that felt like a full-on workout. I think I got enough time under tension there. So again, plans change. So I think I want to do kind of a superset with the last two 12-set base minimum that I revolve around. Sometimes I'm slightly under or over. Like yesterday, I think I was at 11 sets. And then after I got off with y'all, I went into a really ugly set of single side laterals, 5 reps, 55 pounds after that workout, which was more of a B and C tier. I wasn't hitting total intensity there. If I was, I would have been doing band overhead presses, right? Some other exercises. I didn't even touch the side lateral bands, which really would have been something. But I wanted to tackle that 55 pounder and see what I could do. And then I did another set of curls where I was doing more hammer grip. So I really wanted to get more of a hammer session in there, you know. All right. I'd say let's combine the last 2 sets of this ab workout that's been remarkably smooth, and I gotta say I enjoyed it. I'm not really enjoying other exercises that I've been doing as much. So we just move that up a little bit so we're not bouncing or overly straining. All right. And if it ends up being too easy, we drop down to the bottom. That feels really close to where I had it. Yeah, I could have done 25, but I'm going to save a little for leg raises, and we're not going to rest long. Because the aim is fatigue. Unlike what we saved it for the whole time, now the aim is fatigue. So I'm not shooting for 20. I'm shooting for whatever I can maximally fatigue. Yeah, feeling it in the lower back, so I could have done 5 more, but we'll save it for the next workout.